Peace, love, and bliss, everybody. It's Chi Vital, and I'm back with another tool for your toolkit in creating your life. Today is Wednesday. We have our Wednesday wins. I'm an effective communicator. So I'm going to just check out my sound, make sure that everyone who tunes in is able to see and hear me clearly. Peace, Nikki, welcome. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. You can put some ones up. Let me see your fairy emojis. Welcome to the new fairies. And all of my guys, my kings and lords that are in the group HOC. Let me see those fire emojis. Can you hear me loud and clearly? We're just going to touch on another gift on how to communicate effectively, whether it's in our relationships, our workplace, or amongst our friends, whoever you need to communicate with, and most importantly, with yourself. All right? Let me just write this down. Haha. Withholds. Damn, I wrote that too big. Alright. So most of us, Alafia, most of us who are having any issues in communication will come across a few things. But today in particular, I want to focus on withholds, okay? Withholds in communication are very much what they sound like. Peace, Ra. Okay, withholds. Is that backwards? I don't think it's backwards once it plays. Okay, withholds. Withholds, withdrawal, taking out, right? It's important to understand the difference between, all right, cool, thank you. It's important to understand the difference between taking a moment of silence, which I've taught in communication, taking a pause, using the breath, and to withhold. Okay? Peace. What's up, Queen? All right. So here's the example of why withholds can create major damage to your relationships. All right? And what do they really, truly mean? Peace, Michelle. Make sure you have your notebooks. I want you to follow up with this because you're going to always want to reflect back on the tools that I'm giving you and where you can apply them. There's no real good use of this information if you're watching and you're just listening. You want to take notes because you want to go back into your notebooks, into your journals, and you want to identify where you are not effectively taking a moment of silence or a breath of fresh air, and rather you are withholding, okay? One of the easiest scenarios I can bring up are within our relationships with people that we really care about. Because the purpose of withholding most times is because someone feels uncomfortable with the possible consequences of actually being honest about how they feel about a situation. Whether they have a strong judgment towards someone that otherwise they haven't had any issue. Let me see if this gives me some light. Oh, Eureka, I'm here. All right. Whether they're concerned whether the person will no longer feel as close to them, right? So that's one of the issues. Write that down. When we withhold information, when we withhold our communication, we are afraid of losing connection. Right? Afraid of losing connection. We are fearful of losing. Here's a big one for you control freaks. Control. Fearful of losing control. Okay? A1 Flood Tech is this not a commercial for you guys, so just cool it. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to thumbs up this video as well. Alright? It's 6 of you watching for right now. There's some more. Make sure you like this video. Alright, so you can get back to it with ease and because, you know, it's helpful information. Afraid of losing connection. Fearful of losing control. Ha ha ha. Fearful of being seen for who you are. I abbreviated that. Okay? Fearful of being seen for who you are. Fearful for being seen for who you are. One of those things that's still tied to us being afraid to lose connection, because we are existing amongst others a lot of times wearing a mask, because our vulnerabilities are really the parts of us that we have not fully accepted, right? And this is why we're doing the House of Chi work, so that in doing all of your spiritual stuff, you can actually maximize your capacity to do things with less fear. You can do things and manifest your life with more ease, because where we're not accepting parts of ourselves, or we don't even see and acknowledge what's going on inside of us, they get in the way. They get in the way, okay? And it's really easy to practice a level of magic or spirituality in private and in a closet and call it in private, but really we're hiding. We're not confident in how it is that we combine both our mundane desires with our spirituality, which is why a lot of times we don't see outright people really being successful in a financial world and they're tied to their spirituality. Okay, a lot of times you see a lot of folks who are really fully immersed in spirituality, but their lifestyles don't all the way show for it, which means something is missing. And what is missing is this self-work. So in communication, withholds actually do the opposite of what they're used for, okay? Like I said, afraid of losing connection, fearful of losing control, fearful of being seen for who we are. And underneath communication, the initial goal is to connect. I always return to that. We're always looking for some type of connection. Someone mentioned the word attachment. If I share with you who I am attached to in an unhealthy way, right? Because if you're attached to someone, and by being honest and authentic about some of the thoughts that you're having, you will lose your connection to them. Connection is different. You'll lose the attachment. Then you're fearful of something healthy arising. If my attachment is insecure, then that means that I am going to behave in a way that is not true to self. Therefore, I cannot be true to you. And then we are concerned with people in our attached types of relationships, intimate relationships, not being honest with us, but we are continuing to perpetuate that behavior by withholding, okay? So the best thing for the closest relationships is to learn how to acknowledge when there's a withhold. How many of you have ever been in a space with someone that you know rather well, and you sense that there is something wrong? There is an air in the room that is clear. There is something in the room. Let me know if you're aware of that. Has that ever happened to you? Let me see some ones. If you've ever been in the room with someone that you're pretty close to, and you sense something is wrong, but there's silence. No one's saying anything. Cool. Cool. I'm seeing some ones, right? This is a space and time, right? It's really awkward. It's really uncomfortable. Ah, okay, right? And when you go to address the silence or the awkward feeling in the room, and you say, hey, is something wrong? And the person goes, nah, I'm good, right? Most times, the first time they answer it, they're so caught off guard that you call it that their response tells you there's absolutely something wrong, okay? It is the worst feeling in the world because the initial question of, is everything okay? Most times it's really genuine. It doesn't have any sauce behind it. It is really, hey, something's not right with someone that I care about, and I'm curious, right? And then what occurs in the person who notices the withhold is they start to question, one, their intuition, right? I know I picked up on something, but maybe I didn't pick up on something, right? So they start to question your intuition. And then the person is going to tell you absolutely nothing is wrong. And for a time, they may even play on trying to keep this information from you because, one, they might think that they can work it out on their own, so they don't want to bother you with it. Or they feel like they want to talk about it later, so they want to act like nothing's wrong and then bring it up later. But the whole time now, other things are screaming at you inside, and you're like, okay, something's wrong. Now you get to guessing. Now you get to getting frustrated. Now you're like, okay, so either this person is trying to play me for a fool, or I'm bugging, I'm tripping, maybe I'm insecure. Maybe I have these issues going on with me. So if you're in House of Chi, right, you are probably going to go through that. You should be, in fact. When you are faced with a withhold, and this is coming from the outside, when you're faced with a withhold, you should actually start to address your own insecurities, because when someone withholds from you, it's a wonderful experience of discomfort to begin to wonder for yourself the questions you have about the person in front of you and whether you can believe them or not in those spaces. But during that time, intimacy is halted. It is very difficult to hug on and kiss on and hold hands with someone that is withholding information because it creates a literal gap between you and that person. Okay? It literally creates a gap. So even if it's friends, right? If you're amongst your friends, we're not even talking about anything romantic. You all are excited to go and do something, but if it seems like something is wrong, there is energy leaking just to support the wall that is being placed between you all with the withhold. Okay? So, how do we address withholds? Because sometimes withholds, occur because there's been a history of, when I do share honestly, there is some type of backlash, right? And so that's the fearful of losing control of the situation. I might say something and it can get blown out of proportion. It can destroy a friendship that otherwise has been fine this whole time, right? Now, how long have you had the withhold? It's more important that as soon as you feel like something comes up, either you've changed your mind about something you've committed to, or you are not happy with someone's behavior of something they may have said, something they may have done, you want to be able to articulate. You want to be able to articulate how you're feeling and take full accountability. So, withholding at times may maintain, okay, you said withholding maintains peace sometimes. All right. So, like I said, there's a difference between taking some space to think something out and a withhold. Withholds do not create peace. Withholds create crazy discomfort. And this is why I wanted you to work through the example of walking into a room with somebody that you feel particularly comfortable with, and you know something is wrong, but they're saying nothing is wrong. All right? There is a difference between that, which is a withhold, and something is bothering me, but right now I'd like to take some time to process it so that I can articulate what's on my heart, and take full accountability of how I may have participated in it before I share. That in itself relieves the person who is obviously noticing that there's something that needs to be said to some degree. Because now, rather than you having to control them, they are responsible for controlling themselves and respecting your ask. Your ask was for a little bit of time to process something that has come up. Okay? So they're aware something has come up. Even in that time, instead of withholding, let's say you are the person withholding, you can assure the person that the issue at hand actually has nothing to do with them personally. You understand? Sometimes we can offer the person enough information to put them at ease and still maintain a level of privacy or sacred space to actually process something that's going on. How about admitting something wrong but want to talk about it later? Is that withholding? No, so that's not withholding. If I know, let's do a harder one for most people, right? All right. Let's say an individual cheated on their spouse, right? If an individual, and I had this conversation recently, one, most people do not just up and behave a certain way, right? So we're talking about, like, let's say you're in a relationship and you're the person that has cheated or has, what I would say, broken the agreement of the relationship, right? What leads up to that point? There has to have been either an entertainment of emotional attention from somewhere else outside of the relationship prior to engaging in full throttle cheating behavior, or there has to have been a long period of contemplation about other options outside of the relationship due to other miscommunications and disconnects between the two persons, okay? It is not likely that an individual is in a relationship that has reached a point of commitment that they just in 24 hours decide that they're just, everything's fine, and that they're going to go and do something like that. So there's a number of withholds that lead up to that. This is why I'm saying that when there's a withhold, it's better to ask for space to communicate it when you are totally clear, and even admit, I am fearful of losing a certain connection with you because of something I want to communicate, because I feel strongly enough about, maybe it's a judgment. Maybe your homegirl or your homeboy did something that you are looking at them differently now because you have a judgment about their behavior. And before you jump out and say something like that to them, because it may actually shift your relationship, because as we have it, we are working on creating lives that are congruent to what our code of ethics are and how we want to move in life. Some of our friendships may not match that. And there may need to be a clean cut in what those friendships look like. Therefore, there can be a withhold. You can continue to act like you're going to keep being friends with this individual, or you can come to a very mature place in your life where if this person picks up on and is curious enough to say, is there something going on? Did I do something wrong? You can offer them the opportunity to say, like, yes, something was wrong based on my personal judgment, my personal discernment, and I'm not all the way ready to disclose how I feel about it, but it may shift our friendship. And I just want to be honest about that. Okay? Outside of that, we have someone mentioned that they have withholds at work, right? Oh, I don't. Somebody said I have had to do that with my blood sister. I I'm not surprised. I'm not saying that blood that makes you family makes you stuck together forever. I mean, that's what it is. Sometimes you have to be in the family that you create. Um, but that's a whole nother story. I can talk about in the family. All right. So, I don't want to lose track because I don't want this video to be dumb long either, right? Someone mentioned, but I do want to get into work environment. Someone mentioned that they have a lot of withholds at work. At work, being an effective communicator, number one, you may not be that close to anyone. You may not be that close to anyone at work, okay? I'm a firm believer that you can have a very cordial and respectful work environment because you have to be there every day, you have lots of hours, and you should love what you're doing. But a lot of times people are not obviously loving all that they're doing at work, but like you don't need to get that close to anyone at work either. So if Susie is doing something with Johnny at work, but her husband is coming to pick her up from work, that's not your business. So how you feel about Susie might be a withhold, but at the same time, it's like not a non-factor. You see what I'm saying? If your boss is doing something unethical according to the company policies, right? It's not your job to tell the boss, hey, I see you doing such and such, and I'm feeling uncomfortable here. No. I mean, unless you want to use that as a as a what you call it, a power move to say like, oh, I see you, so where's my promotion so that we can keep pushing. Like when it comes to work, you really need to be clear about what your role is in your workforce. You know what I mean? If you see someone doing something absolutely heinous and out of this world, by all means, like it's still up to you to communicate how you see fit. And keep in mind that if you're at work, do you want to jeopardize your income for what it is that you believe in? And if so, then that's totally up to you. I have no role in that. You have every right in that space. Peace. Was it Carol Flight? Let me know if I'm saying your name correctly. All right? So I hope I made that clear. Does anybody have any questions about how to address withholds in communication? And the difference between withholds, Karu of light. All right. Thank you. Peace. Let me know if you have any questions about how to apply dismantling withholds in relationships and communication versus taking some time. Like, do you understand the difference between taking time and what a withhold is? One for yes, you understand how withholds actually create more space and damage to the closeness in your relationships. And twos, if you're totally lost, like, I still think that they're the same. All right. So your assignment for today, as far as communication is concerned, is just to reflect on some spaces where you're withholding information. You're withholding something that actually is creating some type of distance between you and someone that you would like to have more closeness with in particular. Okay? Because if you want to have more closeness with someone, then you need to burn down the walls of withholds. And that's what it is. All right? Last thing is we have our meditation on March 31st in the DMV, Gateway Meditation, at 31st at 6 p.m. So you can RSVP at 202-810-1876, 202-810-1876. So let me know if you want to come through. Our meditations are in Laurel, Maryland. You must send a picture as your RSVP that you're interested in coming. All right, let me see. I saw another question there. No, it's not going to be this Sunday. It's not going to be this Sunday. We've changed it to March 31st. I'm having trouble communicating how I feel when I'm overwhelmed or hurting in general. This is mainly because no one really asked me, so I'm not in the practice of doing this. Okay. Sis, Lauren, when you're in overwhelm, I always say revert back to your own breathing to give yourself a moment to come down. It's harder to articulate without seeming like you're attacking someone. And it's harder to articulate when you are feeling overwhelmed and anxious and get what you want out of the communication if you don't take the time to come down a little bit. Because when you're up there emotionally, you're not responding. You're only reacting. And when you react, you lose power in the conversation. 202-810-1876. 202-810-1876. I will put the number in the description box. Thank you, Rosalie, for putting that up. Okay? So, Lauren, does that make sense? I want you, if you are used to getting overwhelmed in communication, whether it's in the midst of a back and forth communication, you want to definitely you can sink into your quiet storm. Just sink into the eye of your storm, get quiet, and just say, I'm just going to take a moment to reflect before I respond. I'm feeling very overwhelmed at this time, and I cannot effectively get my point across in this state. That's it. Because otherwise, you're going to be fighting to be right. When we're fighting to be right, we're actually losing focus. You have to know what is the outcome that you want, and it has to be better than right. Happy is like the, what you call it? Happy is usually the best outcome. Sometimes you just be like, oh, hell, that shit ain't even worth it. But what is my goal? All right, so if you have any other real questions, let me know. If you have not joined our group, House of Chi, get your butt in there. You can request me on Facebook. And Terrain Hicks, he has a link set up as well. And I think his last video or a live that will be going up today. All right, don't forget to do your assignments. We are working on the purification rainbow song. And yeah, we're getting busy. Happy spring, everybody. You know what I'm saying? Happy spring. Thanks, Khalees. Aya with the fire. Alright, so let me see. I think I saw one more question. Oh, Vivian, I talked about that. I said if someone wants to still talk about what you're trying to get some space to process, then you're going to need to teach them some stuff from your toolkit. You need to teach them that, it's okay to allow a person some space to process before they communicate. Okay? And you can do them even one better and give them a time frame of when you will come forth and speak with them. But you may have to create a boundary that is not a withhold. The Facebook group is House of Chi. Matter of fact, Khalees, can they hit you up to get added to the group? Maybe I'll set that up. All right. And I'm Chi Vital on Facebook. CHI space VITAL. All right. So Vivian, yeah, you're gonna have to let them know. You can set up a fresh agreement. Look, I'm not ready to discuss this right now. This is occurring. Give me until this evening at such and such time. Or I may need the weekend to really hash things over. Okay? And if I'm ready before then, I'll definitely let you know. Because that's the thing. Like, nobody can push us to live how they want us to live. The only person that you need to control is yourself. Therefore, you will see how much more control you have over all the players in your movie. That's what we're doing. Alright? Cool. So, you all enjoy your spring, and I will see you in the group. Your assignment, again, is to... Anyone catch what the assignment is? Please let Lauren know what the assignment is for today regarding withholds. Noticing where you withhold and how you can apply this lesson in order to burn that wall down between you and whoever it is that you are withholding from. All right? Peace.